Few games had such a chaotic journey as Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Announced with huge fanfare in 2019, it was supposed to carry the torch of cult classic 2004 RPG. Instead, it's been delayed for years, changes developers, lost its original writers, and become a lightning rod for controversy. And if it wasn't enough, the Deluxe Edition pre-orders created an entirely new storm, with fans accusing Paradox of selling promise that they couldn't believe. Today we are going to take a deep dive into the troubled history of Bloodlines 2, explore why Deluxe Edition particularly rubbed people the wrong way, and examine what this all means for the game's future. So let's step into the shadows of the world of darkness and uncover the messy story behind one of the game's most infamous delays. To understand why people care so much, we need to look back at the original Bloodlines, released in 2004 by Troika Games. It launched in a broken state, with bugs and missing content. Yet, despite those flaws, it captured something rare. Incredibly immersive role-playing experience which reached direction, deep clean choices, and gritty gothic atmosphere that felt alive. Players could have chosen to align with the classic manipulated ventures, chaotic Malkavians, or Nosferatu-looking the sewers. Your choices matter, shaping how NPC treated you and how quests unfolded. Over time, modders patched the games, restoring cut content and fixing technical problems. Slowly it grew into cult classic, the kind of the game people still recommend nearly 2 decades later. When Paradox announced a true sequel in 2019, the hype wasn't just big, it was astronomical. For a long time, fans that wasn't just another RPG. It was the revival of the one of the most beloved vampire story in the gaming history. Paradox Interactive revealed Bloodlines 2 at GDC in 2019, with cinematic trailer that immediately grabbed attention. Game promised modern visuals, multiple player class and launch, a deep branching narrative, and the return of the brand Mitsuda, one of the original writers. Marketing leaned heavily on nostalgia. Paradox made it clear this was a game for the fans who had been waiting 15 years, and people bought in. Literally, pre-orders appeared almost immediately, with multiple editions available, standard, deluxe, and collectors. At first, it looked like Paradox had nailed the launch strategy, but some fans started raising eyebrows, and they were already saying expansion and story packs for a game that wasn't finished. The Deluxe Edition in particular raised suspicion that Paradox was overpromising, and those suspicions would grow larger with every delay. Here is where things get messy. The Deluxe Edition was advertising as including several future story packs, cosmetic outfits, and even bonus content like the Seal of the Wolf expansion. At face value, it looked like a solid deal, more story, more replayability. But here is catch, those expansion didn't exist yet. In fact, development on the base game itself already showing cracks. By late 2019, rumors circulated that features were being cut, and fans began to ask, how could Paradox justify charging extra for DLC when the core game wasn't even finished? Things escalated further when the release date slipped from March 2020 to later that year, then it slipped again into 2021. Pre-order customers felt trapped. They had paid for deluxe and collector editions, a game that seemed further and further from release. Some even demanded refunds, accusing Paradox of cash grabbing. The optics were terrible, flash edition, price expansion, and no game to show for it. Behind the curtain, the situation was even more dramatic. High Street Live, the Seattle-based studio leading development, reportedly struggled with scope, deadlines, and territorial disagreements. In mid-2020, two major creative leads, Brian Mitsoda, beloved writer, and creative director Kei Kunle, were recently fired. This shocked fans. Mitsoda was a huge part of the game identity. At his departure, fueled rumors that the game was being completely rewritten. Then, in early 2021, Paradox announced that Hearts of Laos was being removed entirely. Bloodlines 2 wasn't cancelled, but it was effectively in limbo. For a time, Paradox even stopped accepting pre-orders. That should have been reassuring, but instead it added the perception that the project was collapsing. House bought the Deluxe Edition wondered if their mind had gone toward content that might never exist. In 2023, Paradox broke the silence. The project had been handed to the Chinese room. There's no problem. Everybody gone to the rapture and amnesia, a machine for pigs. They promised a fresh vision, rebuilt system, and more modern take on vampire politics. But this raises the question, what happened to the Deluxe Edition promises? Will story packs still exist? Will players who have pre-ordered years ago get what they paid for? Paris had been very careful with its answers, saying older edition would be honored, but without much clarity on what they actually means. In the meantime, fan skepticism remains sky high. After all, this is a project that has been burned trust many times. Even if they know tries to polish it, it's going to take more and worse to convince fans that this isn't just another broken promise. Bloodlines community today is divided. Some fans remain hopeful, pointing out that development hell isn't a death sentence. Games like Final Fantasy XV and Cyberpunk 2077 eventually released. Even they had issues, others are more cynical, comparing Bloodlines 2 to doomed project like Duke Nukem Forever. The Deluxe Edition remains a sore spot. For many, it symbolizes everything wrong with modern gaming. Saying future content for a project that doesn't even exist yet. It became a case study in why pre-order can be risky, especially when publishers lean on fan nostalgia to push expensive editions. At the same time, new players who weren't around for the original game are just curious. Will Bloodlines 2 actually deliver a rich vampire RPG? Or will it become another cautionary tale for hype gone wrong? Concluding, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is more than just a game at this point. It is a saga, a story about ambition, nostalgia, corporate decisions, and fan expectation colliding. Finally, at Gamescom 2025, fans got a real sign of light, a brand new trailer, and a long-last unofficial release date. After years of uncertainty, the game finally feels real again. With the Chinese roof not steering the project, the future still carries risk, but also genuine hope. The question remains, will Bloodlines 2 deliver on nearly 2 decades of expectations? Or will it stumble under the weight of its own hype? Masquerade might have been fractured during this long, messy journey, but for the first time in the years, players can see a light at the end of the tunnel. Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is now to set on release 21 October of 2025.